The goal of this video is to show you how Flo by Moen's automatic and manual health checks work, because this is when Flo detects a small leak in your home. At some threshold in between insanely small drips and full blast breaks, Flo doesn't cut the water off. Instead, the automatic daily and manual plumbing health tests discover the smaller leaks. There are 3 parts to this video: a demonstration of how the automatic daily health test works, the difference between an automatic and a manual health test, and the details on settings you can change, notifications, and limitations. Let's start off by doing a walkthrough on what happens when the daily plumbing health test discovers a small leak. In my case, I wake up to a warning text, push notification, and email. When you open the Flo app, it's fairly obvious there's a problem with the warning alert clearly stated in orange. When you click on it, you are taken to the Notifications tab, and you can click on the top alert, also highlighted in orange. Once inside, it shows you how long the health check ran, how many gallons will be lost in a day if the leak continues, and the pressure lost during the test. Back on the home screen, you can see a number in orange next to the device name, which indicates the number of current active alerts. If you go into the device control panel, you'll also see the same warning at the top. Flo's app does a good job of making sure you know there is a problem. The alert will stay in this state until you click on Clear Alert in the alert itself, or if the next health check passes. However, it will permanently stay in the notification list. If you suspect a leak, or if you're trying to determine a possible source of the leak after receiving an alert, you can also run a manual health test. You can run a manual health test at any time and as often as you want, which is the only difference from the automatic health test, which can only run up to 3 times a day. If no leak is present, a leak is too small to be detected, or a leak is not big enough to be caught during the day but coming out at a decent rate, the health check will only run 30 seconds. If the health check discovers a small leak, the test will run between 30 seconds and 4 minutes. These are the results of manual health tests I ran on the most sensitive setting to show how the runtime changes depending on the size of the leak. If the leak is significant, Flo will take closer to 30 seconds to detect and measure the leak. As it gets smaller, Flo consistently runs the full 4-minute test to get a better measure of the leak. At some point though, a leak is too small and the resulting health test will only be 30 seconds. The size of a leak on your home will be different, but the curve will be the same. Thanks, Peter, for sharing your own testing results. While we use different measurement units and the volume of the plumbing between our homes is different, our results showed a similar curve. You can see the ramp up to the full 4-minute test and then drop off from 4 minutes back to 30 seconds. Also, when I ran these tests, these were not run on my own house, so it is not comparable with the testing I've shared in the past on Flo by Moen or Fin Plus. During these tests, I also tried to discover the difference between the far ends of the sensitivity slider. You'll find the health test drip sensitivity slider on the control panel, under device settings on the top right, on the notification settings screen. Despite testing the same set of drips on both the least sensitive and the most sensitive setting, I didn't see too much of a difference in the health test results. Both settings found a leak of a drop every 11.5 seconds. The most sensitive setting found a drop every 12.5 seconds, but the least sensitive setting did not. You should be aware you need to make sure you log out of the Flo app after making the change on the sensitivity slider, otherwise it will not take the new setting. Just to be clear, you can't just move the slider and run a test, it will still use the old setting. I ran this scenario against a 12.5 second drip, which was successfully caught on the most sensitive setting, moved it to the least sensitive, and it ran the full 4 minutes, catching the same leak. After logging out, It still kept the least sensitive setting and did not catch the leak, only running 30 seconds. After moving back to the most sensitive setting, I also ran the health test before logging out, and the leak was not found. Again, only running 30 seconds. This is not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of when you're modifying the sensitivity slider if you're someone who keeps phone apps open. Here are the rest of the details on how Flo's automatic and manual tests work. By default, Flo runs a daily health test once a day, which can be set to run within a window of your choosing. The automatic health test can be run up to 3 times a day. Flo gives you the option to disable this feature, but it is a requirement for the warranty and deductible coverage. You can choose to receive an email, text message, push notification, and/or a phone call when a small drip is detected. The Flo app stores the results of all the health tests. When you scroll through the Notifications tab, you can see all the health test results, warnings, and offline notices from the day you installed the unit. If you interrupt a health test by using water at the same time it is running, the health test will immediately stop, and you'll barely notice the water turning back on. You won't get a notice it was interrupted, but it will be logged in the Alerts tab. Flo will try to rerun the test about an hour later and will continue doing so until it successfully runs a test to completion. If Flo does catch a heating cycle from your storage water heater, it will also abort the plumbing test because it knows the result will be invalid. When your water heater runs overnight to maintain the temperature in the storage tank, it runs about 5 minutes and then shuts off. This is a temporary change in pressure going up at an extreme rate when the valve is closed. If you run a manual test close to the normal runtime of the automatic daily test, the automatic daily test will still run for that night. I appreciate a thumbs up if you found this video helpful. Check out this video next on how FinPlus's manual and automatic plumbing tests work if you're choosing between these 2 systems.